In play, that's a fair ball to Jake. What a play from Jake Oliver! And that is destroyed! Tie game! 60. That's in play down the third baseline. Peter makes the great play from Peter McNeil.
Justice already took advantage of that. What a play over at third.
He's heading home. Oh, he's out. He's going to be out. Jordan Rice tags out Trey Cluxton right. Ground ball right back to Jackie. Bobbles the ball. Flips it over to first and still gets Alex Harden.
Cross, get out, ball later! 2.
And he might have just missed it. Caught and run from Jordan Rice. And that's a shot. Cyclones, what a play!
Oh, a moonshot. Oh, he robbed it! What a catch! What a catch!
Bears coming home. And he gets out. What a play! What a play! The double play from Jerry Langston. And that ball is out of here. Walk-off home run, Jake Oliver. He's advancing it all. I don't know if I like it. Oh! He's down. He got him. Oh my God! He crossed the plate before he was there.
In play, that's a fair ball to Jake. What a play from Jake Oliver! And that is destroyed! Tie game! 60. That's in play down the third baseline. Peter makes the great play from Peter McNeil.
Justice already took advantage of that. What a play over at third.
He's heading home. Oh, he's out. He's going to be out. Jordan Rice tags out Trey Cluxton right. Flips it over to first and still gets Alex Harden.
Cross, get out, ball later! In play, that's a fair ball to Jacob. What a play from Jacob! And that is destroyed! Tie game! That's in play down the third baseline. Peter makes the great play from Peter McNeil.
To that. What a play over at third.
That's in play, and he might have just missed it. Caught and run from Jordan Wright.
Cross, get out, ball later!
And that ball is out of here. Walk off home run. Oh, top for the out as Barrett's coming home. And he hits it. And that's a shot. Zach Conway. He's running third. He's heading home. Oh, he's out. He's out. Flipped over the first. I don't know if I like it.
Flips the first. Oh, and moonshot. Oh, he rolled it! Flare it up. What a play for Peter McNeil!
What is going on, AWA fans, and welcome back to AWA Field. We're here for our regular season matchup between the Atlantic Aces and the Central Cyclones. Going to be a good one between these two teams. Aces sitting at 5-4, and the Cyclones sitting at 7-2. For your broadcast crew tonight, I'm Mark Campanero, joined alongside Jack Playhouse. We're going to be taking you the distance tonight. We'll be getting into the starting lineups here shortly for the Aces and Cyclones. For the Cyclones, on your screen there, leading off is Evan Clugston, hitting 2 is Zane Phillips, Jackson Carr hitting 3, Alex Ballard 4, and Jeremy Langsted rounds out the team hitting 5. That's your Cyclones lineup for tonight. For the Atlantic Aces, Aaron Schofield will lead it off. Moses Valadez hitting second. He is back after his injury in the last series. Morgan Granich hitting third. Jack Scholl hitting fourth. And Kanoa Jandok rounds out the squad hitting 5. Speaking of Kanoa Jandok, we have our own Molly Foley on the field interviewing Atlantic Aces player Kanoa Jandok.
Foley here on the sideline with Kanoa Jandok, getting ready for our matchup tonight with the Aces and the Cyclones. So Kanoa, I know everybody is wondering, are we going to see Moses on the mound tonight? Can you give us an update on how he's doing from his injury last game?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, no, I was talking to Moses before the game started, and he said he's feeling a lot better. So he gave it a test run yesterday, and he's feeling good. So he's definitely a big part of our team, as you saw. So we started out hot, but yeah, it's going to be good to have him back on the mound today for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of that, I know that after Moses came out with his injury last game, your team was swept in the series. But before that had gotten off to a hot start. How are you going to keep some positive momentum coming back, starting off with our games tonight?
Yeah, for sure. We're definitely feeling good going into that last series. Getting swept wasn't a great feeling. But, you know, I think it improved us as a team. So I definitely think we'll work on our plate appearances. This time around, we had a lot of strikeouts. So, and then having Moses back, and the team chemistry will be a bit better today. So hopefully we can scratch a few wins across. We know we got a good pitcher today we're facing, so need to have good at-bats.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Wishing your team the best of luck. And Kanoa, I don't know if you've heard yet, but our commentator Mark says that you, Kanoa Jandok, have the coolest name in AWA. What are your thoughts on that?
I've definitely heard him a couple times in the booth announcing my name, and in the replays I've heard him say it. But shout out to Pops for the mom and dad for the cool name. So just to give them credit. So yeah.
Good luck to Kanoa tonight. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Back to you, Mark. Cool. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you, Molly. And you just heard from Kanoa Jandok of the Atlantic Aces. Aces coming off of a sweep in their last series. They were 5-1 and now 5-4, facing one of the best teams in the league, the Central Cyclones, at 7-2. Evan Clugston leading that Cyclones roster. Clugston has a .75 ERA with 49 strikeouts on the season. Definitely a favorite for the MVP this season, don't you think, Jack?
Yeah, and the big story here today is if you can get on base against Evan Clugston, you're going to have a chance. The supporting cast of the Central Cyclones really has impressed. We didn't think they'd have this kind of batting ability this far into the season. Everyone hitting in the mid-300s. But also on the other side of the ball, the aces, you saw he went down. Moses Valdez went down in Game 1 last week, and that really ultimately led to the sweep. He's back today, thank goodness for them. And he's pitching right now. He's looking pretty good. Hopefully that back doesn't bother him.
Yeah, Valdez coming back for the Aces is massive for them. Valdez has been great on the mound this season. We remember that first series with the Aces, Valdez, I think he had something like, what was it, like 78, 79 fantasy points? I mean, he was doing it on the mound, and he was also doing it at the plate. Aces very thankful to have him back in the lineup tonight, and you'll see Valdez starting on the mound here in Game 1 for the Aces. Another story for the Aces is Jack Scholl. Jack Scholl has been an absolute beast at the plate this year. Has league lead in home runs, tied with Jake Oliver with 4 dingers on the season. Jack Scholl playing very well this season for the Aces, and I know that Captain Aaron Schofield is very happy about that.
Yeah, when you look at the draft picks the Aces had this year, they're an expansion team. Jack Scholl and Kanoa Jandok, getting them in the late second round, that's not who you thought would be leading this team offensively. You look to the guys like Moses Valdez and the 3rd overall pick, Morgan Greenwich, who've been solid defensively, but their offensive numbers are nowhere near Captain Aaron Schofield thought they'd be at this point.
And, you know, this Aces team, I mean, like you said, you know, being an expansion team, a lot of these guys new to the league this season, definitely going to have some growing pains, and it showed in their last series when they got swept, but we're going to see them here tonight, and hopefully they can bounce back. They're 5-4 facing the 7-2 Cyclones team, so we'll see how this goes for them tonight. First pitch to Evan Clugston is outside from Valdez, and second pitch hits the top of the zone. It's a speed check at 61 miles per hour, no pitch. 1-0 remains the count. Just high there for ball 2, 2-0. Now to Evan Clugston. Just inside ball 3. Hold on here.
Hey, that's ball 3.
Evan Clugston thought it was ball 4.
Evan Clugston hitting .379 on the year, has 2 home runs, strikeouts at 13, a little high. As he looks at ball 4.
Yeah, and you mentioned those 2 home runs for Evan Clugston. Not normally considered a power guy, but definitely been good at the plate this season so far as Zane Phillips looks at strike 1.
Zane Phillips really coming into his own here last week. He had the walk-off home run, 2-run shot. Before that, his average dropped a bit, but he's hitting .366 right now.
And that first pitch to Zane Phillips was a speed check, no pitch on that. It was 61 miles per hour, and the count is now 1 ball, 2 strikes to Zane Phillips. Valdez pitching pretty quick here to start this game number 1. Had a few speed checks already to just the first 2 batters of the Cyclones. See if he can slow it down a little bit here as the game goes on. I guess the good news is for the Aces, Valdez throwing that hard. Back issues definitely not causing him any pain right now. He looks great.
I was talking with team captain Aaron Schofield today. They're in a baseball league as well, and Moses said he didn't pitch yesterday just so he could pitch here today.
Amazing as Zane Phillips down on strikes. Valdez
Jeremy
gets his first strikeout of the day. 1 away here in the top of the first. Jeremy Lankstead steps in for the Cyclones as he swings and misses.
Jeremy's hitting .367 on the year. His
So that's lined over Kanoa Jandok's head. It's going to be a single for Jeremy Lankstead. Great piece of hitting from him. Cyclones now with runners on first and second.
Jeremy's average dipped below 200 last week, but was able to find that sweet 360 territory where he's been most of his career. Oh,
Ripped high and deep, and that's out of here. A home run for Jackson Carr, a 3-run shot, and the Cyclones take an early 3-0 lead here in game number 1. What a shot there from Jackson Carr.
if you looked at Jackson's Instagram story today, he said 2 dingers confirmed. He's got one right there in his first at-bat.
That's some confidence saying 2 dingers on this story. Good for Jackson Carr. He's backed up half of it so far.
Alex Ballard stepping in, did not play last week, but his average towards the top of the league, 385.
Takes a strike right there. 2 balls, 1 strike, the count here to Ballard. Yeah, Ballard a rookie this season. Faring well here in the AWA. Nicks the zone for strike 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Some rookies take some time to get adjusted to the pitching in the AWA, but Alex has really come in, had the walk-off in the first series he's ever played in, so.
It's always a good feeling.
Yeah.
Always a good feeling. Full count. It's inside for ball 4. Cyclones get another base runner on. It's only 1 out here in the top of the first. Back to the top of the order with Evan Clugston.
And you know, when you got Evan Clugston on the mound, 3 runs, so far this year has been way too many runs, honestly, for Evan. He only needs 1 run.
Realistically for this Cyclones team, yeah, like you said, they really only need that one, and Evan Clugston with a .75 ERA through already 3 series. That's incredible. So we'll see if the Aces can come back here, already down 3 runs in the top of the first.
I'm interested to see how this Aces roster will do against Evan. Kind of a less traditional lineup. A lot of baseball guys on that roster. I wonder if that will come in to help them or hurt them against Evan.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Now the count to Clugston. Cyclones just trying to continue to add on to this lead. And swing and a miss. He throws the bat on accident. Clugston strikes out there. Out number 2 here in the top of the first. Zane Phillips will step in. Ballard on over at first for the Cyclones. Zane looks at ball 1. Ground ball over to Aaron Schofield. He picks it up, throws to first. It's going to be in time to get Zane Phillips. Zane slipping and falling over there at first base. Thankfully, nobody injured. But the Cyclones, they score 3 runs in the top of the first. They lead it 3-0. Go to the bottom of the first inning here in game number 1.
Evan Clugston on the mound sports a .75 ERA, leads the league with 49 strikeouts, just on a record-breaking pace here.
Those are incredible numbers. Only through 3 series too. Ball 1 to Aaron Schofield. I mean, Jack, I've mentioned it before. You know, normally when he's pitching, there's only 1 player in this league that I truly have some nightmares about before I face him the next day, and that's Evan Clugston.
With the speed limit set at 61, you're telling yourself, look, no one's going to blow this by me. You know, I just got to know where the zone is.
Ripped down the left field line, foul. I almost hit the foul pole down there.
Yeah, but Evan's one of those guys where I'm going up there and like, hey, this guy is probably going to beat me. I just got to get lucky. One of the few players where it's, you know what, maybe this bat will somehow find this ball.
It's just his ability. There's so much movement on his pitches. And he throws a lot of those pitches for strikes as well, so it's not like you can go up there just expecting, hey, you know, he's probably not going to throw a strike, because all of his pitches he can throw pretty effectively for strikes. Full count to Aaron Schofield. Drop ball misses inside. Aaron Schofield on with a walk to lead it off here in the bottom of the first.
That side or that middle one?
Great job for the Aces getting a runner on.
And what we've seen in the past with Evan Clugston is if he does get in trouble, it's a foul ball. It'll usually be because of the walk. And, you know, when he's not finding the zone, no one's hitting him regardless. But he starts to find himself in a little bit sticky situations where he starts 1, 2, maybe 3 batters in a row being walked.
Yeah, and that's something we haven't really even talked about just yet is that perfect game he threw in the last series. I mean, we don't have very many of those, you know, every season in the AWA, so it's impressive for Clugston to do that so early in the season. Strike 3 hits the zone. Valadez strikes out for the first out here in the bottom of the first. Morgan Granich will step in now for the Atlantic Aces.
Yeah, perfect game. First in AWA history. A lot of these players, Morgan, Moses, this is the first time they're seeing Evan. And so I like this.
Popped up into the air. It falls. Ballard coming on. Not going to have a play on Granich. It's going to be an infield single for Granich and the Aces with runners on first and second, only 1 away. Jack Scholl, who leads the league in home runs with 4, stepping in for the Aces.
I was going to say, I'd like to say it gets easier. It looks like Morgan found that nice little soft spot behind the pitcher's mound.
Whatever works against Evan.
Exactly.
Ball 1 there to Jack Scholl, 1-0 the count. Just inside for ball 2. 2-0 here to Scholl.
And if I had a bingo card saying week 3, Jack Scholl will be leading the league in home run cards, I would be a bajillionaire at this moment in time.
Hey, you know, he's swinging the bat well and just got to keep it up here for the Aces. They definitely need him. Like we mentioned earlier, definitely been one of the best offensive players, not only for the Aces, but in the league this season. Ball 4 to Scholl. Great job by Jack Scholl. That'll load the bases for the Aces. Kanoa Jandok is going to step in. Bases loaded again. The Aces down 3. This is massive for them.
Big at bat here. It's not every day you have a runner 50 feet away over third base against Evan Clugston. Every run counts.
Jandok looks at ball 1. We mentioned the walks from Evan Clugston. We've seen a couple here so far in this game. That's ripped high and deep. It's out of here. Kanoa Jandok hits a grand slam in the bottom of the first, and just like that, the Aces take the lead.
I don't think I've ever seen a ball fly off the bat like that. Was that a roll off the bat? I don't even know what that was.
It looked like it hit the very end of the bat next to Jandok's hand and somehow rolls off the bat. It gets out of the yard. Jandok, a grand slam.
And just like that, the tail end of the Aces lineup helps out again.
Jandok and Scholl have just been electric for this Aces squad, providing the runs here for the Aces. Get the lead back. It's now 4-3.
And despite how successful you may be on the mound, you know, it is wiffle ball. It's a capped limit speed, and at some point, you know, that .75 ERA's gotta at least balloon up a tiny bit.
We just saw it there. I mean, we thought maybe 1 run would be enough for the Cyclones. They got 3 of them. And now here the Aces are scoring 4 in the bottom of the first and taking the lead. This Aces team just constantly battling.
Aces have a great strategy right here. Very patient against Evan. You know, he will throw some strikes, that overhand slider, but the missing with that underarm is kind of what, you know, when Evan Clugston's throwing his submarine underarm for strikes, that's when he's deadly. And right now he's just been just a little bit off with that.
We just saw that there in Schofield walking. Moses Valadez will step in against Clugston. Evan having a little bit of issues here early with the walk.
Moses Valadez second on the team in RBIs with 11. His average is a little bit lower, sitting around 200 right now.
That's just outside for ball 2, 2-1 to Valadez. Still only 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Valadez struck out in his first at bat here against Evan. Now looking at a 2-2 count.
When I'm a hitter sitting in there, I'm always looking for that overarm. It's the only pitch.
Strike 3 hits the edge of the zone. What a pitch from Evan Clugston to strike out Valadez for the second time this inning. 2 away for Morgan Granich.
Overarm is the only pitch you can accurately expect what pitch is coming next. When he drops down in that 3/4 submarine angle, it could be one of 3 pitches, and you're just guessing at that point. When I see his arm up there, like, this better be a strike because I'm swinging.
I'm the exact way. Whenever I see that overhand pitch, it's his slider, and that's the only pitch that he tips. Because like you said, everything else he throws through the submarine, and it's hard to know what he's going to pitch.
And hopefully he didn't hear us there, because that's our whole strategy.
Pitch on the way here to Granich is high for ball 2. 3. Ball 4 outside. I misspoke. It was ball 4. And Granich walks. Runners on first and second. Those walks still piling up for Evan Clugston here early in the game.
Another big spot for the bottom part of the Aces lineup. Jack Scholl and then Kanoa Jandok waiting on deck.
First pitch to Scholl hits the zone for strike 1. That overhand slider. Second pitch is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now to Scholl. Swing and a miss for strike 2. Now Scholl behind here. Evan Clugston just trying to get out of this inning as he throws ball 2, evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Slider hits the zone, strike 3, and Evan Clugston able to get out of a jam. The Aces score 4 runs on a Kanoa Jandok grand slam, and they retake the lead. It's 4-3. We go to the top of the second here in game number 1.
And we're back here. Jeremy Langstead will lead it off.
Clutch, guys, thanks.
It's the only time that'll happen, Jeremy.
First pitch to Langstead. It's hit high and deep. It's going to stay in the yard. Granich is underneath it, and he makes the grab for out number 1. Jeremy Langstead retired. Jackson Carr is going to step in now for the Cyclones. Carr hitting a 3-run home run in his last at-bat.
He's got 3 home runs on the year, pushing him into the top 5 territory here at the start of week 4.
Ball 2 there to Carr, 2-0 the count. Jackson Carr's always been a sneaky home run hitter in the league.
Started his career on the Nighthawks 2 years ago, was shipped off to the Cyclones as their captain this year.
Fouls that one back to stay alive. 3 balls, 1 strike.
He's a career .375 hitter.
Hits the zone, full count.
10 career home runs, so this power we've...
It's hit high, it's gonna stay in the yard, and Scholl right underneath it to make the grab for out number 2. 2 away in the top of the second. Alex Ballard will step in for the Central Cyclones. good inning so far for Valadez, getting the first 2 batters he's faced to fly out. 1-0, count to Ballard.
Moses Valadez pounding that strike zone like he's done all year. And as you can see, he's only runs into issues when he leaves one a little bit too long over the plate. That 3-run home run from Jackson Carr.
Ace is very happy to have him back. Glad he's healthy again. And really dang it, missed the foul ball. And we're seeing how important Valadez really is to this Aces squad. I mean, the Aces, when they lost him in their last series, unfortunately got swept, and here they are with a 4-3 lead against one of the best teams in the league, the Cyclones, in the top of the 2nd inning. Full count now to Ballard.
Moses Valadez has 25 strikeouts, only 15 walks. He's a strike thrower. And some of you baseball guys might be wondering, hey, that seems like a lot of walks in the AWA. If you're in plus K to walk ratio, you're doing well.
That's impressive. That's impressive. But one cool thing about the league this season is walks have been down this year, which has been very nice to see. Swing and a miss. Ballard strikes out for the 3rd out in the top of the 2nd. A great inning from the Aces. No runs score. Aces still lead it 4-3. We go to the bottom of the 2nd here in game 1.
Hey, Zane's going to take over third base. You tell their Aces it's coming through, they're going crazy.
Noah Jandok will lead it off for the Aces to start this bottom of the 2nd. Jandok hit a grand slam in his first at-bat against Evan Clugston ever. Not many can say that. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You got to think Evan is just pissed right now.
Well, he doesn't really find himself in this situation very often, especially this season. A swing and a miss there from Jandok for strike 3. Great job from Evan Clugston.
And Evan Clugston's ERA has ballooned up to 1.3.
Oh,
don't know if he'll be able to handle that.
Wow, I still think he's ahead of everybody else in the league. Yeah,
by a full point.
Yeah.
So he's got a little breathing room here.
Aaron Schofield steps in, pops that one up. Clugston can't make the grab. And that's going to be
it's a fair ball.
An error for Evan Clugston. Aaron Schofield gets on for the Aces. Unfortunate error right there for Clugston. Valadez steps in and looks at strike 1. Valadez has had some tough at-bats thus far against Clugston. A couple of strikeouts on the day.
And as the pitcher, you know, he gets the benefit of the doubt. You know, usually when you're not hitting well, you're usually pitching well, and he's done well so far.
Ground ball hits the tree, foul. Count remains a ball and 2 strikes to Valadez. Ground ball is gonna
That's a fair ball.
Fair ball. Evan Clugston throws to first and gets Valadez for the out. It's going to be a productive out nonetheless as Schofield advances to third on the play. It's a fair ball. The ball just
that's
stayed
tough.
Right there on the line. That is difficult.
That's tough. You know, we don't have completely flat surfaces here. There's, you know, who knows what's in the grass over there, but it just stayed right on that line.
Fair ball. Valadez, if he was running that out, he would have easily got there.
Always run out your balls, kid.
Exactly. Ball 1 here to Morgan Granich. Looks at ball 2, 2-0 the count. Aces trying to get at least another insurance run here. It'd be massive for them.
We're going to do a great job just taking all these pitches from Evan. Not biting on anything crazy.
Swing and a miss from Greenwich.
No pitch there?
What was
the speed? 61.
It's going to be a speed check. No pitch. 3-0 will remain the count to Greenwich. Low for ball 4. And Greenwich has been putting together some great at-bats against Clugston here today. He's made it on base all 3 times. Jack Scholl steps in, swing and a miss. Strike 1.
It's a tough on a lefty there. That ball most likely never was in the actual strike zone over the heart of the plate, but finds the zone 2 feet behind it, which is what we go by here.
Somehow, like we always say, you know, the pitches that look like strikes are probably going to be balls, and the pitches that look like balls are probably going to be strikes. Swing and a miss for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes now to Scholl. Slider hits the top of the zone, strike 3. Jack Scholl strikes out for the 3rd out here in the bottom of the 2nd. No run score for the Aces. They still lead at 4-3. We go to the final inning here in game 1.
And then
Evan Clugston leading it off in the final inning. Clugston's pitched great today. He's just had that one mistake. Home run to Jandok. Ground ball to Schofield. Throws over to first. It's not on target, and Evan Clugston gets on for the Cyclones, and immediately the Cyclones get that tying run on at first for Zane Phillips.
And a ground ball by no means is an automatic play, but for Aaron Schofield, one of those players that consistently makes the throw over. We saw that earlier in inning 1.
Phillips fouls that one off. 0-1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. Just outside for ball 1. Low evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Cyclones chasing 1. They have the tying run on at first base as Phillips fouls that one back. Count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
As we look at the Aces at 5-4 and the Cyclones at 7-2, the 3 games where the Aces didn't have Moses Valdez, the heart and soul of the Aces, you know, they got swept, but who knows how that series would have gone. We're looking at 2 teams right here that may very well be the 2 best in the AWA.
Absolutely. These are 2 great teams and a great matchup as Phillips rips that down the left field line, third base side. Foul. See if he can keep that fair. That would have been a 2-run shot as that's outside for ball 3. Full count now to Phillips. Ground ball down the third base line is foul. And Zane has now ripped a couple of foul balls in this at-bat. Looking to try to straighten this thing out. Been a great at-bat.
Loves living by that 78 foul pole line, and that's where he hit the walk-off home run. Shortest porch you can do it here in the AWA. Still counts, though.
Swing and a miss. The riser gets Phillips. That was a great battle between Valadez and Phillips. Valadez ends up winning it. Gets the first out in the top of the 3rd. Again, Aces just 2 outs away from winning this game.
Jeremy Lanks had a career 362 average, sitting right at 357 here.
good hold.
Holds off for ball 1.
You scared me about it.
Ground ball past Valadez on the mound. Schofield coming on, and he bobbles the ball. Jeremy Langsted will reach. Runners on first and second now for the Cyclones. Cyclones with the tying run on at second, the go-ahead run on at first. Jackson Carr steps in after having already hit a 3-run home run back in the first inning of this game today. Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Wow.
It's his home strike 2, and Carr Surprised that that one hit. And hits the zone, a 3-pitch strikeout. Valadez sits down Jackson Carr for out number 2. That's a major out for the Aces. And the Cyclones now down to their final out.
Jackson not happy about that, but you know, if you're not swinging, there's nothing really you can do. If he's just dotting the zone, the bat's there for defense.
Hits the zone. Ballard looking at strike 1.
It's 3 consecutive pitches hitting the outer PVC pipe.
Hits the bottom of the zone for strike 2, and Valadez is dotting the zone right now. Swing and a miss. Ballard hits the zone. It's not going to matter. The Aces, they win game number 1. A final score 4-3. What a job pitching there from Moses Valadez. The Aces will improve to 6-3 on the season. The Cyclones fall to now 7-3. Wow.
That is not what I thought was going to. It's on the batter. If the batter doesn't want to call a speed check,
Yeah, I'll take it.
you know,
And,
and that's tough.
and apologies, the Aces are 6-4 on the season. What a job. Moses Valadez, he really turned it on there for the last few batters.
And speaking of Moses Valadez, we have him over with Molly Foley right now.
Hey everyone, it is Molly Foley here, and we have just wrapped up our first game with the Aces taking the win over the Cyclones. I'm joined now with pitcher Moses Valdez, and Moses, congrats on the win. And I understand you're coming back from a back injury. I remember watching the game last time when you went out. How are you feeling now tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. I've been kind of preparing for this weekend. I'm actually playing baseball as well this weekend, so I had to get prepared for that, and I think it just really transitioned well today.
Well, I'm glad to see it. And will we see you on the mound again tonight?
Yes, you will, for sure.
All right, good luck, and thank you so much.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you, Molly. You just heard from Moses Valadez, who pitched a gem there in game number 1 for the Aces, only giving up 3 runs. Aces win it 4-3. The difference was a Kanoa Jandok grand slam. And, I mean, the Aces scoring 4 against Evan Clugson, who had a .75 ERA heading into that game. You can't say enough good things about that Aces squad in that game 1.
Well, Evan Clugson was 6-0 before that start right there, so a loss on his belt might feel a little odd for him. We'll see how he jumps back right here, bounces back, facing the exact same lineup here in game 2. You'd think that the away team or the home team would have an advantage, but in the AWA this year, the away teams have had the vast advantage here.
And it's weird how that works out because, like you said, Jack, you would just imagine the home team would get that advantage, but the away teams have surged here in the AWA early. Going to be fun how that keeps up throughout the rest of the season.
We're noticing without switching back and forth between home and away, and between game 2 last year we usually flop the teams. Here we're just keeping it consistent. Game 1 is just so crucial because without switching home and away, the momentum doesn't really shift as much as it once did. You know, if you win game 1, we've seen, obviously you can't sweep someone without winning game 1, but we've seen if someone wins game 1, the chances of a sweep is very high.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and it really sets the tone for the rest of the series as well. So.
As we get ready to start game number 2.
You'll notice Fantasy Wiffle Ball on your screen. Brand new this year to the AWA. We have Fantasy Wiffle Ball. Make sure you go to playertrader.net/AWA to play today. You'll have your opportunity to win prizes. The person who scores the most points in the league in a given week will win prizes. Play Fantasy Wiffle Ball today. Go to playertrader.net/AWA to play today. Again, we are about to get game number 2 underway between the Aces and the Cyclones. Aces lead this series 1-0 currently. We'll have first pitch to you here momentarily.
Evan Clugston will step in here. Hitting .361 career average, has 23 career home runs to his name. 2 home runs this year with a .375 average, 15 strikeouts, 11 RBIs.
Valadez, to no surprise, will stay on the mound for the Aces here in game number 2.
I think when you hit it, I think
Have a little bit of a problem with the zone here. For those of you who may just be joining us, Alex Ballard struck out the final at bat in game number 1. He hit the zone as he struck out for the final pitch. Readjusting that strike zone, making sure it's in the right place. Evan Clugston starts this game number 2 off, hitting for the Cyclones, and Moses Valadez, who got the win in game number 1, stays on the mound for the Aces. Aces record now sitting at 6-4, while the Cyclones record is 7-3. First pitch from Valadez is inside for ball 1-0. Ripped high and way out of here. Evan Clugston, a line drive home run to center, leads this game off with a solo shot. The Cyclones out to an early 1-0 lead. Evan Clugston just continues to do it all for this Cyclone squad.
Get out the Digger King helmet for Evan Clugston. He was pissed after his first loss of the year on the mound pitching, and really helps his team out here with a solo shot first at bat of the game.
That was ripped off the bat of Clugston. We'll have to view that exit velo here shortly. Zane Phillips looks at ball 1. And ball 2, 2-0 here to Phillips.
Cyclones have yet to lose a series this year.
Ground ball over to Scholl at first. It bounces off of him. It's going to be an error for Jack Scholl. Zane Phillips reaches on an error.
The moment that ball was hit, had a little extra spin on there. I knew Jack was going to have a little difficulty coming up with that. It's a play he should make, but still, it's the spin is just always so tough to judge.
Those are never easy plays. Ripped up the middle, one hops the fence. Phillips rounding second, heading for third. He's going to get there. And Jeremy Langstead advancing to second on the throw. Cyclones looking great to start this second game. Jackson Carr steps in with runners on second and third, and nobody out as he looks at ball 1.
Cyclones are starting to figure out that Morgan is a strike thrower, and the only way to combat that is to start swinging at some of his pitches.
And this is, you know, this is the second time, third time, fourth time that these Cyclones players are seeing Valadez after just having faced him in game 1.
Sometimes it's nice to give your ace a break, kind of switch up the looks of the opposing team. As you can see, the Cyclones starting to get some hits on them right here early. 1-2.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Carr. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Jackson Carr for out number 1. That's a big strikeout for Valadez.
Jackson Carr very much a dingers or nothing mentality here today. 3-run shot. Other than that, he's got a bunch of strikeouts.
Well, he guaranteed us 2 dingers today on his Instagram story. We've seen 1 so far, so we're still looking for that second one from Carr. Ballard did go there. No balls and 2 strikes now the count. Cyclones trying to get these runs in here to extend their early lead. And that's low, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Alex Ballard, very much one of those players that gets better as the games go along.
Just inside for ball 3, full count now to Ballard.
Alex Ballard, they were the only player in the AWA with a nameless jersey.
You know, I didn't even notice that. What's going on? Are we going to get him a player name on the back there?
It was a late ad. We had to do some late adjustments.
Hits the top of the zone. Ballard strikes out looking. Oh, and it's going to be a speed check. No pitch. Full count remains. Doesn't matter. Valadez comes right back, hits the zone, sits down Ballard for out number 2. And that's a massive strikeout for Valadez.
Valadez got the clutch gene in him right there. 2 huge strikeouts, but it's not over yet. Evan Clugston, who homered in his last at-bat, steps in.
1-0, count here to Clugston, and that hits the zone for strike 1. A ball and 1 strike now to Clugston. Holds there for ball 2, 2-1. Clugston ripped a home run to straight center in his first at bat here, and he does the exact same thing again. A 3-run home run for Evan Clugston. That's his 4th home run of the year, and the Cyclones take a 4-0 lead early in game number 2. Evan Clugston with all 4 RBIs and 2 home runs.
Evan Clugston said, if you guys aren't going to give me run support, I'll do it myself. 2nd home run of the game already. And that'll put him in the top 5 for home runs week 4 already. Already the #1 fantasy player if you are playing fantasy wiffle ball. And he'll just continue to add on to that total right there.
He just continues to prove to everybody that I am the front runner for this MVP race. Give it to me now. And he is playing like an absolute MVP this season for the Cyclones.
And no disrespect to Moses. He's been pitching well. You know, he just had those couple pitches hanging in the zone against Evan here early.
0-1, the count here to Zane Phillips as he looks at that ball outside, 1-1. Swing and a miss there, 1 ball, 2 strikes. A couple of hard hacks there from Phillips. Does well to hold off there for ball 2, 2-2 the count. Swing and a miss. Zane Phillips strikes out swinging. That's the final out in the top of the 1st, but the Cyclones score 4 runs thanks to 2 Evan Clugston home runs, a 3-run home run from Clugston, and a solo shot from Clugston. The Cyclones lead at 4-0. We go to the bottom of the 2nd here in game 2. Aaron Schofield leads it off here for the Aces, who are already in a 4-0 hole early here in game 2.
Aaron Schofield always towards the top of the league on base percentage and average. He right now is 3rd in the league, and obviously his defensive skills. If it wasn't for Keaton McKay, he would be the best fielder in the league.
You know, I can't. Strike 3, Schofield.
No.
3-pitch strikeout to him as he was trying to plead his case after hitting that strike 3 off the zone.
I wish, man, I wish.
If it bounces on the ground, then yes, but.
1 away here in the bottom of the 1st. Moses Valadez steps in against Evan Clugston.
We'll see if the pitcher can help out himself. Evan's already done so. See if Moses can help out his pitching here in game 2.
And that's outside for ball 2, 2-0 to Valadez. That's foul down the 3rd base side for strike 1.
Moses pretty unlucky in his last at-bat with that foul ball. That looked like it was foul ball, rolls fair the last second. He thought, you know, it was a foul ball up until the end when we told him he was out, so he wasn't too happy about that.
Swing and a miss for strike 2, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, it's never a good feeling when you think it's a foul ball, but it ends up going fair. Strike 3, and that pitch was absolutely disgusting from Evan Clugston. Valadez sits down for out number 2. Morgan Granich will step in for the Aces.
Morgan, one of the few aces who has had some success against Evan here.
First pitch is outside for ball 1.
Morgan was the 3rd overall pick or the 2nd overall pick in this year's draft. Career 250 hours, a little bit lower than we expected, but he's starting to slowly progress here in week 4.
He's produced some great at-bats in the series this far against Clugston. Looking at a 1-2 count here. Ripped up the middle and unfortunately right to Ballard for out number 3. Granich smoked that thing up the middle, just right to Ballard. No run score for the Aces in the bottom of the first. The Cyclones still lead it 4-0. We go to the top of the second. Jeremy Lankstead up to the plate for the Cyclones. Cyclones trying to continue to add on to this 4-0 lead. It's already a massive lead for the Cyclones when they have Clugston on the mound, but we thought the same thing last game when the Cyclones were ahead 3-0 and the Aces were able to come back and win it 4-3. So no leads are really truly safe here in the AWA. Strike 3, Lankstead strikes out on 3 pitches.
We see that, unfortunately, quite a bit from Jeremy Lankstead, rocking the khakis today.
And this isn't something that we're used to with Lankstead. He's generally a very good hitter in the league. He's just been struggling the last few series. Strikeouts have crept up on him this year as Jackson Carr looks at ball 1.
Yeah, Jeremy Lankstead's batting .387 to clarify, as he's asking.
Ripped high and deep, and Jackson Carr has done it. A solo home run gives the Cyclones a 5-0 lead. If you remember, we were talking about it earlier at the beginning of the game. Carr had promised on his social media, his Instagram story, that he was going to hit 2 home runs here today, and he just did it. 2 home runs on the day for Jackson Carr.
Call your shots. Sometimes they will pay out. Jackson Carr, 2 home runs today, and he said it on his story. I didn't see that coming. Every time I hear him talking trash, usually it results in a few too many strikeouts. But sometimes I guess it worked.
Hey, what's ever working, he fulfilled what he said he was going to do on his Instagram. Gets 2 home runs, and the Cyclones now with a nice 5-0 lead here in the top of the second. Count here to Alex Ballard is 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 away, and nobody on for the Cyclones.
We've seen a lot of offense here early today against some pretty good pitchers.
Swing and a miss evens the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes, and yeah, it's been a lot of offense for both of these teams today.
Offense from players you might not normally expect it.
Full count now to Ballard. Pitch on the way, hits the top of the zone. Strike 3. Valadez strikes out Ballard for the 2nd out in the inning. Evan Clugston will step in for the Cyclones. And you'll see on your screen showing Jackson Carr over there, and you're probably wondering why. Well, hey, celebrity lookalike Chase from Zoe 101. Jackson Carr and Chase from Zoe 101 having some similarities. See it on the screen there. Jackson's trying to figure out who it is as he's walking back.
No, don't worry about it, Jackson.
It's going to be a little segment we start doing in every series, choosing a player in the league, doing a celebrity look-alike. Just saw Jackson Carr there.
He's just chirping us.
Ball 1, 1-0 to Clugston.
Oh, wow. Time to leave, Jackson.
Looks like Jackson's leaving the field. He's so mad.
Shane says to give him the heat for it. Get the whole team out.
He looks like he's rage quitting right now. 2-1.
I love that segment. That's great. Clugston fouls that one back, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Clugston, I mean, last 2 at-bats has 2 home runs. He's got 4 RBIs in this game, 4 home runs on the year. He's tied for the league lead. He leads the league in ERA. What isn't he doing, Jack?
Whatever he's doing, I want to get a little some of that magic powder. Oh, we jinxed it.
Strike 3. Evan Clugston strikes out there. A rare strikeout from him. But the Cyclones, they add one on in the top of the second. A Jackson Carr solo shot gives the Cyclones a 5-0 lead. We go to the bottom of the second inning here in Game 2.
Shit, what?
Jack Scholl will lead it off for the Aces in the bottom of the second. Aces looking at a 5-0 hole here, unfortunately.
Evan Clugston right now sitting 273 career Ks, pushing towards the top leaderboard for career strikeout leaders. No one has been in the 300K club yet.
Swing and a miss. Strike 1 there to Scholl. 2 balls, 1 strike. Oh, it's going to be too fast on the gun. 62 miles per hour, no pitch. 2-0 remains the count. Ground ball to Jeremy Langston at first. He fields it cleanly and steps on first for the out on Scholl. 1 away in the bottom of the second. Kanoa Jandok will step in for the Aces.
The amount of chirping Jeremy does, an underrated part of his game, is his defense. You know, there's a few guys in the league, Cole Blevins, Jeremy Langshead. You can always count on them making those plays that you think typically you should make, but they're a little bit more toughy with that spin on these wiffle balls, as we saw Jack Scholl earlier today.
They're very good defenders, and yeah, Jeremy Langsted, you know, he hasn't been the Jeremy Langsted we truly know at the plate this season, but that defense still looking great for the Cyclones. Just outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. The count to Jandok. Inside for ball 3, 3-1.
Kanoa had an extremely hot start to begin his year. Had those 2 home runs week 1 towards the top of the leaderboard. Right now his average is a little bit lower than he might like at 222, but still very productive with 13 RBIs.
At the end of the day, you know, that average may not be where he wants it, but if you're producing like that with 13 RBIs, Aces will absolutely take that. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Jandok strikes out for out number 2.
Evan Clugston's on a historic strikeout pace here. Last year, record was set by Alex Harden, 116, but keep in mind that was with 3 more games than we will be playing this year. 9 regular season games this year as opposed to the typical 13 we had in 2022.
As Schofield gets that ball behind him, 1-1 is the count. That's a nasty drop from Evan Clugston. It hits the zone. Strike 2, a ball and 2 strikes to Schofield. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Schofield strikes out for the final out in the bottom of the second. No runs score for the Aces. The Cyclones lead at 5-0. We go to the final inning here in game number 2. Zane Phillips leads it off for the Cyclones in the final inning here in game 2. Cyclones trying to even this series up at a game apiece. Aces won game number 1, final score 4-3. That is way out of here. Zane Phillips hit that thing about halfway up that massive tree out there in center. A solo shot for Zane Phillips, his second home run of the year, and that was destroyed.
I don't think, even if we put a camera out there, we would have been able to see that ball. I don't even know how high, 50 feet, 60 feet above the, that was just the highest ball I've ever seen.
That's the highest home run off of a tree I have ever seen in this league. Zane Phillips destroyed that ball to center. He did the rockin' the baby celebration as he stepped on home plate there, and the Cyclones are just rolling here in game 2.
Zane Phillips really starting to figure it out. He had the walk-up home run, 2 home runs total last year. It looks like the Aces are going to sub out their pitcher for Aaron Schofield, and they're going to sub him out. Aaron Schofield right now, I hate to say it if you're an Aces fan, has the highest recorded ERA in AWA history at week 4 in a season. Any guesses? Want to take any guesses what his ERA is?
I'm gonna go. He's probably he's got to be sitting at least a 9, maybe 10.
36.5.
Wow, I was way off. Wow, that is tough.
A lot of times, you'll see some players have that unlimited ERA or like a 90 ERA. That's with limited, starts and innings pitched. Unfortunately for Aaron, he pitching is not, and you can attest that, his ability is getting on base and excellently defensively. Pitching, that wasn't his calling card. That's why Moses is here. That's why I picked up Moses, why I picked up Morgan Granich. But, Cyclones have got a hold of Moses Valdez here in game 2, so.
And you just heard Aaron Schofield there. He was asking a question. He said, hey, if I come in here in this final inning of game 2, would Moses still have an opportunity to pitch an inning in game 3? And he would. So the Aces are looking at this as like, hey, we're down 6-0 here in the final inning. Most likely going to lose this game. Let's let Aaron Schofield come in, throw a few here in the final inning, and let's save Moses for potentially a 1 inning in game 3 where they try to go for a series win.
You go, Jay Vaughn. What do you say?
Oh, foul ball. 1-1 count here at Aaron Schofield. We're getting a lot of chirps from the booth right now. Brock Playhouse is in there right now. He'll be playing on Wednesday.
Ground ball past Aaron Schofield on the mound. Valadez comes on, throws to first, and Jack Scholl just can't hang on. Jeremy Langsted will reach first. Runner on first, nobody out for Jackson Carr, who has already hit 2 home runs on the day.
It's tough. You're Aaron Schofield. You want your defense to pick you up. Jack's had a couple of balls out there that he should have been able to help his team out there, but unfortunately the ball just gets away from him right there.
1-0 the count to Jackson Carr. So that's high for ball 2. Yeah, you mentioned it. When we got Brock Playhouse in the booth or on the productions table, it's hard to keep a straight face sometime. Always making us laugh. 3-0 the count here to Carr. Swing and a miss. Great. We always appreciate a nice 3-0 swing. 3-1. Count out a car as he holds. That'll be ball 4.
And going back to the rules for pitching, you can either start and pitch 2 games out of the 3 per series or 6 total innings. So most players don't opt for the 6 innings. In the case where the game went to extra innings, you'd actually be pitching more than 6 innings. But, you know, sometimes when you get a little roughed up like that, Moses does still have that 1 extra inning of eligibility.
And ultimately, a great decision from Schofield. I mean, they're already down 6 runs. Got a couple of runners on, nobody out. 2-0 count here to Ballard. I mean, you know, Aces want to hold him for game 3 and potentially get a series win.
Takes out that ephus right there, and you know, when you're not seeing too many strikes cross the plate as the Cyclones, can be very timid when it comes to swing. As you look at a 3-0 swing right there, respect swing. We like to see that here.
Love it. 3-1 here to Ballard. He's at his feet for ball 4. That'll load the bases for the Cyclones.
Who else?
Evan Clugston's going to step in. Just been the front runner in the MVP race. A dangerous, dangerous hitter. Already has 2 home runs in this game alone. 4 RBIs in this game. 3-run home run and a solo shot.
He's up to a 400 average on the year.
1-0 to Clugston.
Right now, looking at MVP favorites, Evan Clugston, Dominic DeMiro, Moses Valdez, DJ Oliver. And really what it's going to come down to is how their team does in the regular season record-wise. Because, you know, you can play as well as you can, but if your team doesn't have the record, you know, valuable might not be the word we're using there.
Wins are very important when it comes to that MVP race. And I agree with you. And for all of you at home, you know, you're getting a little bit of a, you know, sneak peek preview of how we give our awards out here in the AWA. Evan Clugston will walk, and that'll bring in a run for the Cyclones. Now lead it 7-0. Still nobody out. Bases juiced. Zane Phillips is going to step in. Phillips hit a massive solo shot in his last at-bat as he looks at ball 1. I have truly never seen a ball hit that far up a tree here in the AWA. Zane Phillips, the rookie this season, really coming on for this Cyclones team in their 4th series on the year.
So we're looking at Aaron Schofield's ERA. Unfortunately, it's up to 36, but honestly, the more impressive feat is his WHIP, which stands for walks and hits per inning. A very respectable 15.
I truly didn't realize it was that bad.
I hope he doesn't listen back to this replay. Well, if you're listening to this
Ground
replay,
ball is foul. Count
Aaron,
remains full.
No disrespect, Phillips, but I think we both know pitching is not your strongest suit.
Hey, it happens, you know. Sometimes, you know, you don't pitch very well, and sometimes you have it. It's just how it is. Zane Phillips strikes out for the first out in the top of the 3rd.
Maybe he does need a little more, you know, us talking like that. Gets his first strikeout of the inning.
That's something that I've seen in the league. Is the announcer's jinx is in full force. I think every single series.
Whoa. Jeremy Langstead. We're going to have to mute him.
That's fouled off for strike 1, 0-1.
Doesn't get better than this. Elite talent versus elite talent.
I guess in Jeremy's defense, he does get heckled quite a bit when he comes up to the plate. 1-1 to Langstead.
Definitely the most heckled player in the league. It doesn't help that Pierre McNeil is currently in the booth right here. His sole purpose is to heckle Jeremy.
Swing and a miss. Strike 2 evens the count. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Hey, last strike, be careful. I know, but it's like, but now we're
And that's strike 3 as Langstead strikes out swinging for out number 2. Jackson Carr will step in now for the Cyclones.
2 outs now. Big strike out there from Aaron Schofield, but up steps Jackson Carr. Other than Evan Cluxton has been the most dangerous hitter here on the Cyclones here today. If you're just joining us, he posted on his stories he's going to hit 2 bombs today, and he did that.
It's pretty impressive.
He's got that dog in him.
That's gotta be one of the greatest called shots we've seen in the league.
But if he hits another one, then then it's like, okay, doesn't count.
Wow.
What a pitch there from Schofield. Hits the zone. No balls, 2 strikes. Hey Jack, how many? We've talked a lot about the bad parts of Schofield. That strike 3 hits the zone. That was 62. No pitch. 0-2 will remain the count. And Schofield really disappointed about that one. But Jack, how many strikeouts does Aaron Schofield have in the league?
Career strikeouts for Aaron Schofield. 5.
What would have been his 6
and we
right
just
there?
took one away from him. Oh gosh, we're bullies up here.
Poor Aaron Schofield. Low for ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Jackson Carr strikes out, and Aaron Schofield is going to get that 6th strikeout on his career, striking out Jackson Carr. A couple more runs score for the Cyclones in the top of the 3rd. They lead it 7-0. We go to the bottom of the 3rd here in game number 2.
If you're a fan of fantasy, head on over to Fantasy Wiffle Ball, link in bio for playertrader.net/AWA. Moses Valdez will lead it off. Hits his hand there. Moses Valdez is 0 for 1 with a strikeout here in game number 2, sorry. Here in the bottom of the 3rd. Aces need 7 runs to tie, 8 to pull out the win here.
2-0 is the count to Valdez. And I'd have to imagine the Cyclones are sitting real comfortable with that 7-0 lead. But a walk to Valdez there gets things started for the Aces. They'll take that. Morgan Granish will step in, nobody out and a runner on. Granish has hit well this far against Cluxton. Unfortunately, in his last at-bat, he lined out to Alex Ballard, hit a hard line drive just right to Ballard.
I guess they read the scouting report, had a man perfectly placed.
Granish as well to hold off there, 1-0. Looks at ball 2.
Morgan Granish wearing the player mic.
Also has the most swag in the league. I like to say that a lot. Got some sweet eye black on. Always appreciate the eye black. Swing and a miss.
Got him a little confidence right there with hyping him up.
3 balls, 1 strike. Count to Granish.
Up until this season, Mark, you gotta be a little hurt that Morgan's taking the most swag on the eye black away from you.
Oh, absolutely. I am a little hurt, but hey, I always invite players who wear eye black in the league. I love it. Granish takes ball 4, and just like that's back-to-back walks for the Aces. To start this bottom of the 3rd, runners on 1st and 2nd. Jack Scholl's going to step in. Still nobody out.
And we've noticed, over the years, if Evan Cluxton does get in trouble, and it is when he has multiple walks, he needs help like that from Jack, swinging at some pitches that might have just barely missed. He actually, last year, 2 years ago that is, he started walking pitchers or batters and actually rage quit mid-game.
Oh yeah, I remember that. He threw a ball over the center field wall, kind of like Trevor Bauer did. And he was very unhappy. He was getting speed checked too much. I definitely heard it after that one.
Yeah, he's one of his biggest improvements over the years has been able to control that temper and really lock in. And so far you see, he's an MVP candidate here in year 2023.
And, ever since that game, he has been absolutely dialed in. I mean, Cy Young Award winner last season. this year front runner for the MVP. I mean, you know, maybe he needed that game.
Yeah.
Now he's just been absolutely dialed for this Cyclone squad. That's high for ball 4, 3 consecutive walks. To start this bottom of the third, the Aces load the bases up here. Kanoa Jandok's gonna step in, who is absolutely no stranger to the Grand Slam. Hit one in game 1 to give the Aces a 4-3 win. 0-1 is the count here to Jandok.
This Aces lineup's got some sneaky power at the end of their order here with Jack Scholl and Kanoa Jandok, both in the top 5 currently in the AWA in home runs.
It's the zone, strike 2, a ball and 2 strikes to Jandok. Aces just trying to get any runs they can here in the bottom of the third.
It's off his hand. Was that off his hand? It's off your hand? That'll be a strikeout. Unfortunately.
If it's off your hand, then yes, that's off of Jandok's hand for strike 3. Fortunately, striking out on a pitch that hit him.
Unfortunately, some players don't know, but if you do swing at a third pitch and it's off your hand, it is a strikeout. If it hits your hand, then it's, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell. Like when I hit the homer, I hit the bat and the hand.
Yeah, I think if it's immediately determined that it is a handball, then that will be a strikeout. Be one thing if you said, you know, did it hit your hand? No, it hit the hand and the bat, then, but it said immediately hand.
2 balls, no strikes here to Schofield. Both pitches were behind him. That almost hit him. 3-0 here to Sco.
You know, this is one of those situations, down 7 runs, where, you know, normally I'm swinging 3-0, but against the best pitcher, you got to get every run you can get. But never mind, Aaron's swinging there.
You know, I love swinging 3-0, but in the sake of the Aces being down 7-0, it might have been best there to just take that pitch.
You know, if you're trying to get 4 runs at once, it usually doesn't go that way.
Ball 4, not going to matter. Schofield walks. It's going to walk in a run for the Aces. Their first run of the ball game. They will not be shut out here in game 2. Valadez is going to step in for the Aces. The base is juiced. Only 1 away.
Moses Valadez.
He's on a tear, bro. Go up 5-0.
That's high to Valadez for ball 1, 1-0.
Oof.
It's the zone, strike 1, a ball, and 1 strike to Valadez. Swing and a miss, and Valadez now looking at a 1-2 count. Fortunate swinging at some balls there from Clugston.
And we knew that it's a miracle that Moses is here today, playing, helping his team out, gave his team the game 1 win, but you know, you got to think it's still, his back's still hurting him a little bit.
No, does not go there. Be ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
2-2.
Ground ball foul down the third base side. Count remains 2-2.
Decent speed on the bases here for the Aces. Not like that matters, but there's no stealing. But
hits him in the back, full count. It's been a solid at bat for Valadez.
yeah, that looked like it was right on the injury there.
Does well to hold off, and that's going to walk in another run for the Aces.
And this is you hate to say it, but you know, if Evan Clugston ever balloons his ERA, this is a signature inning for him, where you know you start to see these innings where he starts walking 4 or 5 guys, it just kind of starts piling up, and he's not going to take himself out of the game, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, this is this is, we talked about it earlier. I mean, this is one of the problems with Evan is he does get into moments like this where he'll just walk a lot of hitters, and that's really the only way that most teams score off of him. And Grandage is looking at a 2-0 count here. Clugston really needs to lock in as their Cyclones are having a five-run lead in the bottom of the third. Really need to lock in and get these next 2 outs. If Greenwich walks, that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Slider hits the zone for strike 1. 2 balls, 1 strike. The count to Greenwich.
Big at bat here.
Great job from Greenwich to hold off. 3-1, and Greenwich, I mentioned it earlier, he's had some great at-bats today against Evan.
And we've noticed over the years, or over this year,
62, it's going to be a no pitch. 3-1 will remain the count to Greenwich.
Aces are the most patient batters in the AWA. You know, you see against the Nighthawks, against the Enforcers.
It's 2-1 if it's a no pitch.
It's 3-1 if that was a no pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 3-1.
But you see right here, the Aces are almost in a walk-first mentality. That was a nasty pitch right there.
Full count now to Greenwich. This is a big at-bat for the Aces. Hits the zone in Clugston. Oh, it's going to be 61 on the gun. No pitch. Count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Gotta be wondering what Evan's thinking right now. Thought he had 2 strikeouts there, but speed checks hurt him.
Slider hits the inside part of the zone for strike 3. Clugston strikes out Greenwich for out number 2. Major out for Evan Clugston, because if he would have walked Greenwich there, that would have brought the tying run to the plate for the Aces.
Those speed checks, Evan Clugston was determined. He hypothetically struck out Morgan 3 straight times there, but, you know, ball doesn't lie, and he finally got it.
Speed checks are major in this league and can really change games for the better or the worse.
Evan Clugston, 1 out away from getting out of this jam.
That's a tough swing and miss from Jack Scholl as he's now in an 0-2 hole. Cyclones just a strike away from tying this series a game apiece. Hits the zone, strike 3. Jack Scholl strikes out, and the Cyclones take game 2. Final score 7-2. The series is now tied 1-1. We're going to go to the rubber match here in game 3. Winner takes the series between the Aces and the Cyclones. We'll be back to start game 3 momentarily. And we have Molly Foley on the field with Central Cyclones player Jackson Carr.
Thanks, Mark. Hey, everyone. It's Molly Foley again from the sideline, wrapping up game 2, where we had the Cyclones on top of the Aces now to tie up the series 1-1. I'm joined now with Jackson Carr. Jackson, how are things going now heading into game 3 tonight? How are you going to keep the momentum going now for the Cyclones?
You know, we just got to keep hitting them over the fence. We don't have Evan pitching this game, so Zane's going to step up. We got to limit the runs and, you know, just keep hitting the ball.
You know, congratulations. I noticed you did have a home run in this past game. Very nice job. And in fact, I hear that your mom and dad are out in the stands this evening. Anything you want to say to them?
Love you, Mom and Dad. And I'm going to hit another dinger, so, yeah.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks, Jackson. Bye. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you, Molly, for that right there as we're getting ready to start game number 3. Aces will be home, and they will have Morgan Greenwich pitching here game 3. They do have Moses Valdez available for one more inning of work. We'll see if his back will allow it, to come in, maybe a little extra inning work, maybe come in for the save. We haven't seen a save yet this year because most pitchers just want to stay in for all 3 innings.
Be really cool to see Valadez come in for a save opportunity in Game 3. And again, this series between the Cyclones and the Aces is tied 1 game apiece. Winner of this Game 3 would win the series. Aces fall to 6-5 on the year after that loss, and the Cyclones improve to 8-4. Sorry, 8-3. Evan Clugston lead it off for the Cyclones. Again, this Game 3, Morgan Granich will be on the mound. We'll have first pitch momentarily for all the fans out there. Game 3 between the Aces and the Cyclones.
Morgan Granich stepping in here with first pitch at Game 3. Morgan Granich looking at his ERA. He's got a 3.79 ERA and one of the few knuckleballers left in the league. Tyler Clout of the Metropolitan Mojo is one of them, but he's been a little banged up this year.
2-0 to Evan Clugston. It's always cool seeing those knuckleballs. They move so much. 3-0 out of the count.
Good thing about the knuckleballs, it's just a devastating pitch. Bad thing is if it's not landing, most hitters don't see it that much. They're not going to swing, but you see Evan swinging there.
Ripped into right center by Evan Clugston. He leads the game off with a single. Runner on for the Cyclones. Zane Phillips will step in, nobody out, 1 on.
Evan Clugston not pitching up to his prototypical self today, but he has been mashing the ball. He had a 2 home run game last game and gets on base first hit of Game 3 right here.
First pitch to Zane, swing and a miss for strike 1. No balls, 1 strike. Hits the zone. Great pitch there from Granich. Tulips now in an 0-2 hole.
2 nasty knuckleballs right there.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Zane Phillips for out number 1.
Looking at Morgan's repertoire here, he's got that knuckle obviously, but that sinker you saw right there to strike out Zane Phillips, also excellent when he throws it for a ball there. Looks like a strike up until the last second. Got the 2 full feet of drop.
It's pretty.
Probably more, honestly.
Yeah, and those knuckleballs, they move so much up there as a hitter. It's difficult to decide whether you want to swing or not sometimes because it looks like it's going to be a strike and it's a ball and it's the other way around. It's hard. 1-0 here to Langston as he looks at ball 2, 2-0.
What makes it difficult is, you know, part of in baseball, you know you're getting a consistent ball in the wiffle ball world.
Ripped into left center by Langstead. It'll be a single for him. And there's now runners on first and second for the Cyclones. Jackson Carr is going to step in, has a couple of home runs already on the day. Called his shot earlier on his Instagram story. He fulfilled it. Looking to get the Cyclones their first runs here in Game 3. Reminder that winner of this game will take the series.
Going back on my thought, in the wiffle ball world, not every ball is scuffed up the same, which is unfortunate, but that's just how it's going to go. And that means when you're a knuckleball where you rely so much on control, it's not always going to go where you want it.
That's the tough thing too. Some balls are really scuffed, some aren't, and so they do different things.
You know, we try to get it as consistent as we can, but you know, sometimes a ball that wasn't meant to be there makes its way out there, or a ball gets hit over the fence, makes its way back, and it's just not the same texture as it once was.
2-1 to Jackson Carr. So that's fouled off for strike 2, evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Other than those 2 home runs, which were very impressive, Jackson Carr hasn't done much other than that. He's struck out a fair amount of times here today.
Ball 3 brings the count full now to Carr. Does well to hold off there for ball 4, and he does not fall victim to a strikeout. Thankfully, as the Cyclones load the bases now on the top of the first, Alex Ballard will step in for the Cyclones.
And this is not the Cyclones we've seen in the past offense where they got 2 guys. Last year they had Dominic and Evan Cluxton, obviously, but this year, you know, Dominic departing, still an MVP candidate. But this year they got help from everyone on the team. Everyone's hitting well, whereas last year they were just relying on Evan Cluxton and Dominic DeMiro to get on base.
0-1 now to Ballard. Yeah, you mentioned it. I mean, this Cyclones team has, you know, even with the loss of DeMiro, has played very well this season in 2023. And definitely up there for a favorite to win the World Series this season.
Alex Ballard's average right around 297 here in his first early on in his rookie career. He wasn't here last week, so it takes a little bit of warming up to after a week off.
Knuckleball hits the zone, brings the count full now to Alex Ballard. Way behind him for ball 4. It's going to walk in a run for the Cyclones as they take an early 1-0 lead in the top of the first. Evan Cluxton will step in with the bases juiced.
Evan Cluxton steps in. Moses Valdez is sitting on the bench right now. Looks like he's warming his arm up a bit. He still has 1 more inning of eligibility, but each game is 3 innings, so the Aces are going to try and have to figure out what they can do here and salvage this game.
Yeah, if the Aces can get Greenwich through at least 2, go to Valdez in the 3rd, that would be their ideal situation. As Cluxton looks at ball 1, 1-0 to him. Just inside for ball 2, and you know, Evan Cluxton, the way he's been swinging the bat, Cyclones are just a swing away from blowing this game wide open.
Just missed that one. I know Evan wants that one back.
2 balls, 1 strike to count.
You know, sometimes when you kind of get put into a lull of looking at all these pitches.
Ground ball back to Greenwich. He throws home, gets the out on Langstead. It's the 2nd out of the inning. Great job from Greenwich. Able to get to save a run there for the Aces. 2 away for Zane Phillips.
Great play right there from Greenwich. Took it the only place where the ball allowed him to go, and he'll save himself another run right there. Score remains 1-0.
Aside from the walks, Greenwich has pitched well so far on the top of the first, giving up only 1 run. Knuckleball hits the zone. Strike 1 to Phillips.
Greenwich really does have that, what's the word I'm looking for? Scary factor?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, with that eye black, I mean, that's some scary stuff up there.
Looks like he just got off his day job for being Batman.
Yeah.
Play some wiffle ball.
Way outside for ball 3, 3-1 to Zane Phillips.
Morgan really taking his time out there, moving his background. You got to think maybe him running into Jeremy there might have roughed him up a bit.
Ball 4, that'll walk in another run for the Cyclones. They now lead it 2-0 in the top of the first. Jeremy Langstead is going to step in, bases juiced and 2 outs.
Jeremy Langstead, 24 career home runs in his career. Started off his career pretty poorly, if I do say so myself. 2020, a little bit late there, 2021, but then 2022 had a breakout year, double-digit home runs, which doesn't happen often. He was in the top 10 for home runs in the league.
He does it with a smile on his face every day, joking around with everybody. Just a great attitude that Langsted has. Looks at ball 1, 1-0. Ball 2, 2-0 to Langsted.
Jeremy Langsted always is assuming when we talk up here, we're talking about him.
Popped up into the air. Granich is underneath it. He makes the grab for the final out in the top of the first, but the Cyclones score 2 runs. They lead at 2-0. Go to the bottom of 1 here in the final game of the series.
Looking at Zane Phillips, the Cyclones game 2. He's done well. He's a rookie. 3.91 ERA, 17 walks, a little high, as opposed to 7 Ks and 16 home runs, or 16 hits given up, sorry. 2 home runs on the year. And really key to success here for him today in game 3. Give the Cyclones a series win would be limiting the walk.
Aaron Schofield will lead it off for the Aces. Aces trying to come back from this 2-0 deficit. They find themselves in early in game 3.
Jeremy Langsted comes out of the bushes, don't know what he was doing over there, but now they do have a full lineup.
You're about to say cut that lead in half.
There we go. Aaron Schofield calls his shot.
Calling his shot right there. You love to hear that. Zane Phillips, first pitch from him just inside for ball 1. Swing and a miss. A hard swing and a miss there from Schofield.
No wonder these Aces are hurting their backs. They're the hardest swinging team in the league.
That's ripped deep down the left field line. Foul. Strike number 2, a ball and 2 strikes now to Schofield. Just outside, ball 2, 2-2 the count. Swing and a miss. Down goes Schofield. Zane Phillips gets his first strikeout of the ball game. 1 away in the bottom of the first. Moses Valadez will step in against hit for his first face-off here against Zane Phillips.
Moses Valadez DHing here in this game. Still nursing that back injury.
Foul back, 1-1.
And if you're the Aces, you gotta love not having to face Evan in game 3, even though they did find some success in games 1 and 2.
They did. They took 1 of the 2 games from the Cyclones with Clugston on the mound, and that's massive, and that's exactly what you need to even have a chance of winning the series against the Cyclones. Ripped past Jackson Carr at third. Valadez rounding first. He'll stay put there for a single, a hard hit single for Valadez, and the Aces gonna run her on for Morgan Granich, who's hit well here today. Granich looking to help himself out here.
Good to see Moses on base. His average has dipped a bit here as the season has progressed.
Valadez has pitched well today for the Aces. Still has that 1 inning of eligibility, potentially if the Aces need him here in game 3. Valadez hasn't hit too particularly well today with that back injury still, but gets a nice, hard, solid single there.
Zane Phillips, we've noticed as the year has gone on, really improved his pitching ability. Really a master of his craft. Gets in the workshop after the game. You say here, staying here late hours after the game's over, just working on his craft. Love to see it.
Zane battles, that's for sure. A former collegiate baseball player. Now comes and plays professional wiffle ball here in the AWA. Has performed pretty well so far for the Cyclones. 3-1 is the count to Grant as he swings and misses. A pitch that hit him, unfortunately, brings the count full.
Not a lovely looking swing right there. Definitely could be worse though.
Full count pitch here to Greenwich is high for ball 4, and the Aces now with runners on first and second. Jack Scholl is going to step in. Scholl been a little quiet today at the plate given his 4 home runs on the year.
$14 on fantasy.
It's $14 on fantasy. He wasn't too happy about his $5 price. He's bumped it all the way up to 14. His count is now 1-0 to him. Ripped over past Jackson Carr, gets by him. Valadez rounding third, heading home, and he's going to be out at home. What a relay from Jackson Carr and Zane Phillips, and Jack Scholl off the bag, but Morgan Greenwich scores on the throw. What a series of events there as the Aces are able to get a run in. Now 2-1, Cyclones still lead it, but what a relay. Jackson Carr and Zane Phillips able to get the out on Valadez for the second out here in the bottom of the first. You know, great job from Jack Scholl. He was off the bag a little bit there at first. Phillips tries to throw at him, and a run is able to come in on the throw for the Aces to cut this Cyclone lead in half. Kanoa Jandok up for the Aces. Looking at a 2-0 count.
That was a tough play to score, I'm not gonna lie.
I would imagine there's a lot going on there. 3-0 is the count to Jandok.
Like Zane had some anger in that throw to home right there.
Swing and a miss for strike 1.
Kanoa rocking the
for ball 4.
That was ball 4. Oh, it's ball 4?
Kanoa rocking the CR7s.
That works.
Jandok walks. Runners on first and second, 2 away for Aaron Schofield. Now that was definitely the most interesting play of the series between the Aces and the Cyclones. Ground ball is fair ball. Zane Phillips is just not gonna have a play. Schofield easily beats that one out for an infield single. Bases loaded. Moses Valadez steps in. Ace is just trying to at least tie this ball game up here in the bottom of the first.
Aaron Schofield, one of the fastest players in the AWA, so no surprise any short ball there. He is getting to first base.
1-0 to Valadez. Fouls that one back, 1 ball and 1 strike.
So he was rounding third there in last play. I was a little scared about injury there for Moses, but it looks to be okay right now.
I tend to get really nervous when guys are rounding third and heading home. It's just
running through the bushes.
So many opportunities to potentially slip and fall. So that's high for ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Valadez. Swing and a miss. Down goes Valadez for out number 3. The Aces do get a run in the bottom of the first, but the Cyclones still lead it 2-1. Go to the top of the second inning.
Jackson Carr will lead it off. He's got a career 363 average, 24 home runs, 77 strikeouts, and 101 RBIs, just past the 100 RBI club.
First pitch from Greenwich is inside for ball 1. 1-0 here to Carr. Just high for ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes to Carr. Cyclones looking to increase their 2-1 lead they have here in the top of the second, as that's behind Carr, 3-0. Greenwich not too happy with himself after that pitch. Ripped way out of here. Jackson Carr, his 3rd home run of the day, a solo home run, gives this Cyclones team now a 3-1 lead in the top of the second, and Jackson Carr just continues to have a day as he gets the Wiffle King helmet after that home run.
He's a liar. He said he was going to hit 2 home runs today. He hit 3.
Jackson Carr, have a day, my friend. He is taking advantage of that short porch out there and right. First pitch to Alex Ballard is low for ball 1, 1-0. Ground ball past Greenwich on the mound. He tries to flip over to Scholl, but Scholl is not in the right position over there at first base. Ballard will reach on an error. Runner on, nobody out. And back to the top of the order with Evan Clugston. We go for the Cyclones.
That, you know, that's a tough play to make regardless, kind of in no man's land. You know, Jack Scholl is creeping over towards it. Morgan gets it. No one's there to cover first, so Morgan kind of did everything he could do there.
First pitch to Clugston is outside for ball 1, 1-0. Yeah, sometimes over there in between first and second, it just can be no man's territory, no man's land, and that's what we saw there with Greenwich and Scholl. 1-1, the count now to Clugston. Popped up into the air. Jack Scholl is right underneath it. He makes the grab for out number 1. One away now on the top of the second.
Alex Ballard did well to hold up there, immediately goes back to his bag. We've seen some base running errors this year. Stingers, a few teams, just some careless mistakes, not knowing how many outs there are on the field, but good job from Alex right there.
Base running errors can really make a difference in a game. Good job from Ballard there to stay at first. 1-0 here to Zane Phillips. It's inside for ball 2, 2-0.
And if Zane Phillips heats up to as much as he has been last week and this week, he stays at this production level, this Cyclones team, sneaky Cyclones team, could be one of the best teams in the entire AWA.
Ground ball down the third base side. Schofield able to pick it up and field it cleanly. Just no play as he tried to fake a throw and get Ballard at second, but Ballard does well again to not run too aggressively and stay at second. Single for Zane Phillips.
Some elite base running from Alex Ballard right now. Does everything he knows. He didn't, I don't know if he read the scouting report, but that's Aaron Schofield's signature play right there, the fake throw to third.
Popped up into the air. It's in foul territory, and Greenwich dives, trying to
we didn't have an angle over there.
Just not able to get there in time. What an effort from Morgan Greenwich.
Hey, Morgan.
Unfortunately, one wasn't able to get to that.
Morgan, love it. There's no angles over there. It's like, this will hurt you. Doesn't cover that one. That's right.
Okay, Jeremy.
Let's go, Jeremy.
0-1 to Langstead. What an effort from Greenwich.
Looked like a beached whale.
Did not go. It's ball 1, 1-1.
He didn't go. 1-1 is count.
Swing and a miss on the knuckleball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now to Langstead.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Will.
1-2 on the way to Langstead is inside. Ball 2 evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. You know, if we're gonna have guys diving over there in foul territory like that, might be a possibility of getting a camera angle over there maybe in the future.
You know, and that's just, you know, we have two straight over here. You know, we don't see too many plays over there, and you know, it's kind of on the producer's booth to have a camera ready to go over there, but. Oh gosh.
Hits the zone, strike 3. Langstead strikes out looking. It's the second out on the top of the second.
It is the second out, people.
Aces thought it was 3. We'll continue. Runner still on first and second for the Cyclones. Jackson Carr, who has been the hottest hitter for the Cyclones, steps in. 3 home runs in this series. Been an incredible series so far for Carr. First pitch hits the zone for strike 1. 0-1 the count to Carr. Just a bit outside for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Jackson Carr easily having the best series of his young career here. Coming fresh off one of his most viral videos. I won't tell you who he was in the video. He's becoming a rave fan base.
We'll leave that character up to the fans to decide who he was. 3-1 to Carr. Ground ball right back to Granic. He tries to go to third, but just couldn't get Ballard going to third there, and tries to go back to first, and Jackson Carr was too quick, gets to the base. Granic was yelling at Scholl. He said, go get the ball, and tried to get Jackson Carr on the hidden ball trick, but Carr didn't budge on that one.
Tough to do a hidden ball trick when there's like 20 balls on the field.
Base is now loaded for the Cyclones, and hey, you know, I guess it's worth a shot for the Aces trying to get that final out in the top of the second.
Would have been a tough play regardless for Morgan. You know, did the right thing, trying to go to the bag where the ball was taking him. Unfortunately, Aaron Schofield wasn't at third.
First pitch to Ballard hits the zone for strike 1. On 1 is the count to him.
Morgan's thrown 57 pitches so far, 24 strikes, 33 balls.
Wake on Alex Ballard hits a grand slam, and the Cyclones increase their lead 7-1. Now the score.
Dinger
wow.
King.
Give him that Dinger King helmet. Alex Ballard, grand slam, and the Cyclones increase their lead now 6 runs in the top of the second. Granic not too happy about that one. Evan Clugston's gonna step in for the Cyclones. Looks at ball 1 outside, 1-0.
5 runs in this inning. 6 is the cap. So 1 more run from the Cyclones would end this inning.
Cyclones, they just keep rolling. After a tough game 1 where the Cyclones lost 4-3. Playing well in these last 2 games here, games 2 and 3.
And Morgan Greenwich has got to be furious. They thought they had 3 outs in the inning, started to walk off the field. Unfortunately, when that happens, you know, karma kind of bites you in the butt right there, gives him a grand slam to Alex Ballard.
2-2. Count to Evan Clugston.
I apologize for saying the B-U-T-T word. The producers are not happy. Won't happen again. I'm sorry. I don't want to get canceled on live television. That's my bad. Producers booth telling me I should be using the word bum.
Swing and a miss. Evan Clugston strikes out swinging for the final out in the top of the second, but the damage has been dealt. Cyclones score 5 in the inning, and Alex Ballard grand slam does most of the damage, and the Cyclones lead at 7-1. We go to the bottom of the second here in the final game of the series.
And there's Morgan Greenwich with
Ground
a hard
ball.
hit ball.
Single for Greenwich. And the Aces have some work to do here in the bottom of the second, down 6 runs. Jack Scholl's going to step in. Runner on first, nobody out.
Morgan looks like he's taking a little bit of anger out after that tough top of the second for him pitching.
Ripped into the stands for down on the first base side. Ground ball. Hit a fan there. She's okay. Jack Scholl apologizing. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count.
She will be pressing charges.
Swing and a miss for strike 2, a ball and 2 strikes. Let's hope we don't have too many of those this season. Way high to Scholl, evens the count at 2-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Scholl strikes out for out number 1. And, you know, props to myself for catching that one.
I had you on the back up there.
First one of the day for me.
I was ready for the tip drill.
I missed the one earlier, but that was hit hard.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough play to handle.
Do we have a camera angle back here so we can?
We just flip that around, but
create a TikTok of all of our catches.
We
Back here in the
kinda got
broadcast
there,
booth.
yeah.
First pitch to Jandok hits the zone.
Kanoa Jandok, 3 home runs this year. First year in the AWA was a 2nd-round pick. One.
Just low.
2-1 count.
What's going on, fans? How's everybody doing? 2-2 the count to Jandok. Runner on first, 1 away. Swing and a miss. Jandok strikes out swinging. It's the 2nd out. The bottom of the 2nd.
Kanoa Jandok, one of those ding-or-nothing type players, had that crucial grand slam game 1. Unfortunately, struck out a few times here in game number 3. Aaron Schofield steps in, had that beat out a single in his last at-bat, and struck out here in game 3.
Just high for ball 1. Ground ball over to Jackson Carr at 30. Flips to second. It's not going to be in time to get Greenwich.
Jackson did well to flip it over there, make it close, but that's still a tough play. Ball wasn't moving that fast coming to Jackson, so didn't have much time to flip it over to second base.
Be a single for Aaron Schofield. Moses Valadez steps in with a couple of runners on as he looks at strike 1, 0-1. Swing and a miss for strike 2. And Valadez looking at an 0-2 hole. Popped up into the air.
Ooh.
Ballard coming on. He makes the grab for the final out in the bottom of the 2nd. No run score for the Aces. The Cyclones lead at 7-1. We go to the final inning here in game number 3.
And we're getting ready to start the top of the 3rd. Moses still on the bench here. He is available for 1 more inning, but Morgan Greenwich.
Popped up into the air. Morgan Greenwich calls off Scholl and makes the grab in foul territory for out number 1. A big out for the Aces as they're trying to limit the runs for the Cyclones here, already down 6.
Looks like Morgan almost caught that as a football catch. He looks like he tapped 2 toes in bounds on the grass.
Hey, whatever works, whatever works. He would have been in for the touchdown if we were playing football. Jeremy Langstead steps in for the Cyclones as he looks at ball 1 outside, 1-0.
Morgan Greenwich, 65 pitches so far in this game, 36 balls, 29 strikes.
Just inside ball 2, 2-0 to Langstead.
And if we've looked historically,
popped up into the air. Greenwich is underneath it and makes the grab. 2 quick outs. Here in the top of the 3rd, Jackson Carr, the hottest hitter on the Cyclones, steps in. 3 home runs in this series.
if we're looking historically at average ERA in the league, it's been right around 5.1, 5.2 throughout the years, slowly going down as the pitchers get better. Morgan's sitting right around 5.1 to begin his AWA career.
That pitch was behind Carr for ball 2, 2-0 the count. And you know, Greenwich hasn't pitched too badly here today. Unfortunately, giving up that grand slam to Alex Ballard back in the 2nd was what really gave this Cyclones team their lead here in game 3. See if Greenwich can get this final out as Carr swings and misses at the 3-0 pitch right there. 3-1, now the count. Ripped over to Jandok, and he makes the grab for out number 3, a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 3rd. No run score for the Cyclones, but they still lead at 7-1. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Aces trailing by 6. And you'll see on your screen, Fantasy Wiffle Ball, brand new to the AWA this season. Make sure you go to playertrader.net/AWA to play today. Choose your favorite Wiffle Ball players, plug them into your lineup, and the top scorers of the weeks will win prizes. Make sure you go to playertrader.net/AWA to play Fantasy Wiffle Ball today.
Mark, I picked you up last week. It was a good value pick for me.
Did you?
You had what, three home runs?
2 home runs. I gotta win on the mound as well. You know, hey.
Gotta love players that pitch upside when you don't normally expect them to pitch.
I appreciate the pickup,
yes,
Jack.
yes.
Thank you very much.
You might be a little too expensive for me this week. So,
Morgan Greenwich steps in for the Aces as he looks at ball 1, 1-0. Aces trailing by 6 here.
Ooh.
That was absolutely destroyed.
I didn't read it right.
Onto the tree down the 3rd base side. That ball's got to be broken, wouldn't you think?
It has to be. The radar, unfortunately, it's much more directional. So, you know, unless we somehow get it a hit tracks in here, we'll be able to accurately read those foul balls a little bit better in the future. But
that's going to be the next investment.
Yeah.
2-1 to Greenwich.
Ooh.
Hits him in the face for ball 3. 3-1 now to Greenwich, and Aces, any way they can, need base runners, trailing by 6 runs. The Aces have come back from more runs before. They were down 9 runs in a game against the Wolfpack and ended up coming back to win that ball game. Now find themselves in a 6-hole deficit against the Cyclones as Greenwich holds off there, walks to start this bottom of the 3rd.
And however you looked at that game, either painful or good, you know, the Aces are not going to go down without a fight.
Ball 1 here to Jack Scholl. Swing and a miss for strike 1, 1-1 here to Scholl. Aces really need Scholl to get going here in the final inning of the game if they want to have an opportunity to win this ball game. Scholl been an excellent offensive piece for this Aces squad thus far this season. 4 home runs on the year. Hits the zone for strike 2, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Just inside for ball 2, 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Jack Scholl, out number 1 in the bottom of the 3rd. Great pitch from Zane Phillips. Phillips has pitched excellently here in the final game, only given up 1 run so far to this excellent Aces offense. Kanoa Jandok steps in. First pitch hits the zone, strike 1, and Phillips continues to dot up the zone. Curveball, ground ball right back to Phillips. He throws over the head of Langstead. Granich is going to have to hold up at 3rd as Jandok will be awarded 2nd. Granich awarded to 3rd. That ball went out of play. Base runners awarded only 1 bag. Runners at 2nd and 3rd, 1 away for Aaron Schofield.
Big spot for the captain right here.
First pitch to Schofield is fouled back for strike 1. Just a bit inside there, 1 ball, 1 strike to Schofield. Aces with a great opportunity here. A couple of runners in scoring position. And does well to hold off there for ball 2, 2-1. Ground ball down the 3rd base side. Jackson Carr fields it cleanly, and that's going to be a base running error by Jandok as he did not need to go there. Jackson Carr tags out Jandok for the 2nd out.